Your trusty horse is great, but do you know what's an even better mount than that, Eric?
What's that, Matt?
Everything we've come up with this evening.
8 Monstrous Mounts for your game, complete with stats and lore. Roll the clip.
That's how we roll. 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 That's how we roll.
Welcome to the Goblin's Corner. My name's Eric.
And I'm Matt.
And tonight,
We're talking about mounts.
yeah, Chimeras Part 3, Monstrous Mounts.
Indeed.
Now, so tonight we have 8 Monstrous Mounts for your TTRPG of choice.
Indeed.
And this time, because it's Chimeras, we've decided to have a little bit of fun.
You know, you got to just toss some stuff in the blender and see what pours out, you know?
Yeah, so we've got 8 different types of mounts, some in the sky, some in the sea, some on land,
Some underland.
some under the land, and we'll show you all of the behind mechanics, some of the lore with that. But if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. Help us get the show out to more people and get notified when more awesome episodes come your way.
Indeed. So you might ask yourself, mounts?
Mounts, self? Tell me of mounts.
Why are we doing an episode on chimeric mounts?
It's an excellent question.
Well, first off, it's because we like doing chimera episodes.
Yeah, and it's fun. That's really the first reason why we would do an episode on chimeras and mounts.
It's basically the first reason why we do any episode.
Because it amuses us most.
Indeed.
Yes. The second thing I would say is because there's a lot of different chimeric creatures from mythology that happen to be mounts. So
That's true.
the Pegasus is a great example, right?
Yeah. The griffin.
The Griffin, yeah. The Hydra that has wings. That's King Ghidorah. That's, you know what? King Ghidorah could be a monstrous chimera as well.
That's true.
And
And
a
you
mount.
could even say that Godzilla has its own mythology. So
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I would definitely add that to my game if we were playing a D&D with Godzilla in it.
I'm sure.
Screw the Tarisk. We've got Godzilla.
Which is just the Tarisk, but with an atomic breath weapon.
The better Tarisk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tarisk Plus.
Chimeras add great flavor to your game world.
Yeah.
There is so much story-wise that you can do with a chimera, and having a mount as a chimera gives you a little bit more flavor to build your world out, because it's if that, then what else?
Indeed. And speaking of the if-then premise, one of the great things about having multiple types of mounts, sky mounts or sea mounts or whatever, is it provides 3-dimensional combat, right? You could have aerial combat in the game, flying divisions in a battle, but you could also have subaquatic mounts. And
If they're phased mosasaurs that you happen to be riding into the ethereal plane, maybe you could have literally planar combat.
absolutely, just popping back and forth across the veil.
Shaboom, shaboom, bamfing like Nightcrawler from the X-Men.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And we've got a couple examples of something like that as well.
It's true. So how often do you see characters with chimeric mounts? I mean, in mythology, lots of people have them, or at least several.
But in
And-
D&D, not so often.
No, it's pretty rare.
Got some Griffin Riders in Waterdeep.
Yep.
Can you think of another one?
There are some Pegasus riders from Silvery Moon.
And that's probably about
That's-
it.
Yeah, I'm tapped.
Some Wyvern Riders, maybe?
Yeah, but even they aren't real chimeras.
It's a good point. They're just,
They just wannabe dragons.
they're not, they're just, faux dragons.
Soft dragon.
Yeah, soft. Don't worry about those soft dragons. So what we got tonight is a fun amalgam of creatures that we've mashed together, stuck in a blender, and these are easily adaptable to pretty much any game world. But we're thinking, the tried and true.
Sure. D&D, Pathfinder.
Yeah.
This is more specifically fantasy based, but if you just threw an alien skin on them, some of these could be really cool for
Starfinder,
yeah,
or even Shadowrun, or something else, or Travelers.
Star Wars,
Yeah.
because some of these things look freaking weird.
Oh yeah, I would love to see some Star Wars chimeras in this stuff. And we might add, it's way too easy just to add wings to ordinary animals.
Yeah,
So
we didn't do that.
No, we're going to do a little bit more, go the extra mile as well. These are most likely something that amuses us, as we've mentioned.
We're gonna do name and basic description, throw in some basic stats and special defenses and attacks.
Do a little ecology.
Sure, for where it applies.
Yeah.
And some of the story or lore behind how these creatures could come to be.
As an aside, you should also consider, if you are wanting to throw Monstrous Mounts into your campaign, think about some of the chimeras that already exist, like the hippocampus, the hippogriff,
The Paraton, the griffin, wyvern, as we said, a rock, giant birds in general.
the alicorn, which I thought was a nice addition. Very choice.
Absolutely.
You don't see many alicorn love going on.
We need more alicorns.
We do.
There's very few things that are, 800 pounds that can charge out of the sky and spear you with their head.
Yeah, that doesn't sound great at all.
I mean, if you're the one on the back of it, it sounds
That's
fantastic.
delightful. Yeah, that's a great deal. So let's get on to the monsters, and I believe the first one is a creation of yours, Matt.
It is the Sea Sprinter.
Ooh, tell me of the Sea Sprinter. First off, what is it composed of?
It is composed of a giant water strider,
Already down for this.
a gecko,
Mm-hmm.
and an electric eel.
All right. So it is an electrified water strider that's going to sell me car insurance.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Give me a description.
This large six-legged striped reptile has overextended webbed feet, complete with bowl-shaped foot pads and a fat pontoon-shaped tail, just like
Yeah, big old chubby tail.
like a big eel tail, right? There.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I love it.
While fully amphibious, the Sea Sprinter's normal mode of transport involves cupping the water with its foot pads and literally just running across the surface at great speeds. Now, it can just chill up there. It doesn't have to run, but we're talking about travel here.
It's a pontoon lizard. It's naturally buoyant, and it's got, I'm assuming, you said it's six-legged?
I did.
A lot of legs there that just
yeah.
kind of spread out like a water strider.
Yep.
That's
Motive
cool.
force, man.
Yeah, that's great.
The lizard's oversized mouth sports an array of sharp, needle-like teeth.
Like an eel's.
Yes.
I love that as well. Give me some stats, maybe like a special attack or something
Okay. Well, it can bite, obviously.
with its needle-like teeth,
It has an electric shock.
like an electric eel.
Indeed. And an electric tail slap.
Mmm.
Just reach out and touch someone.
I can see him coming out of the mist.
But, that's how lizards generally get business done.
That's
They
true.
just slap stuff with their tail.
Sure. It comes right up to the water and just slaps you across the face. That's the last thing you know.
Just rude.
Yeah, I love
Rude.
that. It's great.
Obviously, they can water walk at 60 feet. They can climb because they're part gecko.
Mm-hmm.
They climb at a 30 movement, and they can swim at 20. Like I said, they normally go across the top of the water. They're capable of swimming, but it's not their primary mode of transportation.
And it should be noted that these are mounts.
Yes.
So I want you, as a clever DM or clever players, to think of situations where you can use these in your game. And I've already come up with a couple.
Several.
We'll get
Yeah.
to that after the story, and we could see what we come up with. Give me the ecology and the story behind this, Matt.
All right. These are naturally occurring creatures from an archipelago of long-dormant volcanic islands. Sea sprinters typically eat anything smaller than themselves and normally subsist on large fish, birds, and medium-sized mammals.
So anything smaller than them.
Yep.
That makes sense.
The story behind them is Captain Jenna Harfarian of the Blue Typhoon originally found the first sea sprinters on an uncharted island when her ship ran off course during a particularly gruesome storm. The crew immediately began to use these large lizards and, as a result, quickly dominated coastal waterways.
Yeah. This is one of those where you're a merchant sailing on a ship. The mists kind of crop up overnight, and I could see them swimming or running across the water, but I see them like swimming, kind of surfacing, climbing the ship because they can climb. They got to climb speed.
Absolutely.
And the pirates are strapped to them. I don't know if Captain Jenna, what is it, Harfarian?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if she's a pirate.
Yes.
She is now.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
if she
Once you get an aquatic cavalry, you don't have to do things legally anymore.
I take what I want, which is perfect, right?
Yeah.
But I could also see these as naval cavalry. Imagine, there's a couple of ships coming in. Oh, no, we're getting invaded. The Royal Navy's come up on our coastal waterways, and these lizards just are like lounging on the beach,
Yeah.
and you just jump on them with your harpoons, just skitter across.
you also have the option of, depending on what era you play in, covering them with large cannon fire as they just come spilling out of the bay into the Royal Navy's midst, and just start hammering holes in the bottom of the ships. They don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
They have aquatic mounts. They can get whatever they want from the bottom.
They could stick to the bottom of the ship while the saboteur is currently boring a hole in the bottom of the ship. Captain, we've sprung a leak in the bilge. What? And another one's he's currently drilling another one. What a wonderful aquatic mount.
Absolutely. I like them.
Yeah, so that's the Sea Sprinter.
I thought that was a cool combo, but you have something called a Parsithien?
Yes, the Parsithien.
All right, tell me what this is about.
This is a medium-sized mount for ostensibly small creatures.
Sure.
And it is composed of an otter, so it's cute.
Sure.
A blink dog.
Extra cute.
And a zorn. For those of you who don't know what a zorn is, it's a three-legged, looks like a bowl with a mouth.
Yeah.
Feed me, Seymour. And it phases through the earth.
Okay.
It's gems.
Does that affect its cuteness in any way?
Not at all.
Okay.
You'll see in a second. Otherwise known as earth otters, Parsithiens are medium-sized otters with mottled, granite-like skin and long, fluffy tails.
Okay, nice.
So imagine an otter.
Sure.
About, let's say about 6 foot, 7 foot. It's a medium-sized creature.
Oh.
It's a big otter.
It's very.
Yeah. With like granite mottled skin. I'm thinking in my head if the Thing from the Fantastic Four was an otter.
Okay.
With a long, floofy tail.
Sure. And not bright orange.
Yeah, not bright orange. Very cute. So they play and glide through the earth. Speaking of what they do in terms of stats and stuff like that, the first thing is because they are earth gliders, they have tremor sense 120 feet.
Sure.
Got to be able to see where you're going.
Yeah.
Earth glide, 60 foot round.
Nice.
Inherited from the blink dogs, they have blink once around.
Okay.
And then a normal 30-foot movement of their otter scurriness.
Glumping.
Yeah.
Otterness.
That's a good word, glumping. There should be more glumping happening in games. Their normal mode of transport consists of gracefully swimming through the earth, where they hunt subterranean mammals via their tremor sense.
Makes sense.
When threatened, Parsithiens have a defense mechanism which consists of blinking in and out of the ethereal plane to escape pursuit. These abilities can also be shared with a rider.
Nice. So it's like a little field around them.
Yeah. Yeah. So you jump on the back of the Parsithien. It gives a little, I don't know what an otter makes, but the little otter squeal, and it just kind of phases out of reality briefly.
But there's a bark connotation into that otter squeal. So maybe it's like it starts high and then it kind of at the end.
That would be
like
good.
Ew.
I would also laugh and be amused if it just said wolf and then phased.
Like literally just woof.
Yeah. It's this cute little otter face that just goes woof woof and phases from reality.
What's the ecology of these things?
Parsithiens hail from the elemental plane of Earth, where they play, dance, and frolic amongst their more somber residents. While not easily or at all trained, the playful earth otters can be amused or bribed long enough to stick around. While food tends to be a good way to accumulate a family of Parsithiens, precious gems will often enamor these creatures to a particular handler. However, these animals are fickle, and should the rider prove to no longer be amusing over time, they may wander off seeking other entertainments.
That's very otter. I also like the fact otters in real life, right? They pick a special rock. That's their rock. They keep their rock.
For opening like clams and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And they even have a pocket of skin that they can tuck their rock into.
So you give them like a precious gem.
Yeah, and that's they go digging through and they're like, this gem, I like this one right here, and they keep their little special gem.
Yeah. In terms of lore, what I have is during an expedition into the elemental plane of Earth, a tribe of gnomes found the rambunctious mammals and immediately set about domesticating them, quote unquote, for the primaterial plane. Many believe their riders to be as mercurial as their mounts. And this is, if you think about gnomes, this is perfect.
Yeah.
They're already grabbing gems beneath the earth. Maybe they dig a little too deep. They're in the elemental plane of Earth. They see these earth-gliding mammals. they're small creatures. This is the perfect mount for a bunch of gnomes. Can you imagine war gnomes with their little picks?
Oh, yeah.
Phasing in and out of reality, smashing you in the face, and then diving gracefully with the otters going wolf as they glide under the earth.
So the picture I got was a gnome on the back of one of these things coming out of the water, like dolphin jump style.
Mhm.
And it just swings down, war pick right through the foot, and then just continues its arc straight back into the ground.
Yeah. And then if they need to, they can blink into the ethereal plane.
Sure.
So it's running at you, and maybe just for and giggles, it goes, and now it's behind you.
Sure.
And it bashes your face in. What a great mount to have.
Absolutely.
I tell you this, you wouldn't mess with the tribe of gnomes with one of these.
Certainly not with several.
They could be in the Underdark. Think about the Swerfneblin, the deep gnomes, having a tribe of these guys. Drow wouldn't with them. What a Drow going to do?
Can't
Can't
gonna
dance.
catch me.
Yeah, how are you going to get them? Can't dance. These things can dance. They can dance in the earth.
Can't sing.
Can't sing. These things can sing. They go woof. And then the gnomish flail just bashes your face in. So that's the Parsithien. Now let's change gears a little bit, because that was a little cute. You have something slightly less cute in mind for the next creature.
It's adorable in its own. It's not. It's awful.
This is definitely the monstrous part of the Monstrous Mount.
Yes.
So tell me a bit about the Trapdoor land shark. What is it composed of?
Man, it's on the tin, right? It's a bullet and a giant spider.
So a land shark and a giant trapdoor spider.
Yep.
All right, you're big on the arachnids tonight. Got this the second type of insect.
I suppose so. So the description is, this 8-limbed monstrosity begins with 2 elongated spidery forelimbs, a body covered in a silvery carapace with a shark-like torpedo-shaped head.
Boulet style?
Indeed.
Mm.
Towards the back sprouts an oversized cylindrical abdomen, complete with large spinnerets.
A land shark spider.
Yes. But instead of it being bulbous, right, it's more cylindrical because it can only fit through the shape that the head makes. Anyway.
Now that makes sense. Yeah. Good. Better for like crawling through certain things.
Yeah.
Okay. Some stats. I'm assuming it's the worst combinations of land shark and spider.
Yes. It has web.
Okay.
It has ambush tactics. It has a poison bite. It has 2 clawed forelimbs. And it can swallow whole, obviously.
So it's definitely an ambush predator. This sounds awful.
Yeah, it's a trapdoor land shark.
We got an ecology with this thing?
Kinda. They're magical creations, right? So they don't have an actual standard ecology, but they do fill similar niches to that of a boulet or a giant trapdoor spider.
I'm really interested because, all right, first off, this is a horrible creature. It is. I mean, it's boulets are not nice creatures anyway because it's a land shark.
Right.
Digs a big hole, pops out of the ground, jaws just eat you and then burrows away. Giant trapdoor spiders are horrible because you see, oh, look, it's a big spider web. And next thing you know, you're meal.
Yes.
But how is this thing a mount?
These creatures were created and bred by a criminal syndicate that smuggles via an underground network of tunnels.
Oh, I see now. Okay, so they're bred for a specific purpose.
Yes. The trapdoor land shark provides a temperamental but useful mount to transport goods. The crossbreeding with a trapdoor spider allows smugglers the ability to create on-demand storage containers as well as camouflage silken cachets. Because, you just bundle it up in the silk, toss it on the back of the spider, and go.
So it's dragging like goods and services kind of along the back.
Yes.
Okay, I can see that. Or maybe creating like a little nest on its abdomen that carries the goods made out of silk.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
And, of course, the other side of that is they can make cachets and disguise them because that's what trapdoor spiders do.
So hide them in their nests.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And no right-thinking creature would ever contemplate just waltzing into a giant trapdoor spider's lair.
Mm-hmm.
And thus the sashes of contraband remain blissfully hidden from prying eyes. They are relatively docile if well fed.
I could see, and you're absolutely right on this, by the way. I could see maybe like a mossy glen or something like that, or swamp, nice swamp.
Mm.
And you're a party of adventurers, and you go, the criminal syndicate has to be somewhere around here. Our lead told us this was the location. And they look, and there's a trapdoor spider lair. And they going down the first trapdoor spider lair, and a trapdoor spider comes out and kills the first adventurer.
Yeah.
It's definitely not that place. They go down the second, and a trapdoor spider reaches out and kills the rogue. And, well, obviously it's not that one either. And then the third one, that's the
Trapdoor land shark.
Yeah, the trapdoor land shark, which then kills the rest of the party, and the goods and services are safe.
Yes.
Because, if you hide them with a bunch of other trapdoor spiders, no one's going to mess with them.
Nobody with half a brain.
Sane. Yeah, nobody's sane. Imagine like an underground cache. You load the trapdoor land shark. You're kind of riding shotgun or maybe towards the back so that as it burrows along and makes its own tunnel,
Yep.
you get under the keep. So you've stolen all of the king's
gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You burrow, good couple hundred paces away past the tree line, and you burrow back up. Yeah. Trapdoor spider, you say the command word and he kind of hauls his stash up. You jump on the back. Yeehaw! Go off into the forest. You imagine a bunch of peasants? They're just walking along the road and this giant trapdoor spider with a
land shark face.
Yeah, land shark's face and a rogue riding it with a dagger in the back and a big old mound of stuff. And they're just like, yeah, I'm going to pretend I didn't see that.
I saw nothing.
What a delight.
So, speaking of subterranean monstrosities, you have one coming up.
Yes, and again, like yours, the name is on the tin. It is called a Subterranean Horror.
All right.
And it is also a mount. It is a combination of the naked mole rat,
Mm-hmm.
an anglerfish, and a cockroach.
Yep.
It's straight up nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
Composed of a flesh-colored cockroach body, large burrowing claws in the front, compound eyes, and a hard anglerfish mouth surrounded by piercing chelicerata.
Yep. That's pretty awful.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the creature from Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, yeah.
It will come out no more. Yeah.
What will come out no more?
Yeah. Grab that guy. Additionally, 2 antennae protrude from the head, which create a soft light.
Like an anglerfish.
Like an anglerfish, exactly. In terms of what it does, it's got a hard appearance, first off.
Sure. Because it does.
It's ugly.
Yeah.
It has an ambush, pops out of the ground and such, bite and grapple attack, burrowing. It can climb. It has a short flight like a cockroach.
Sure.
And it's damn near indestructible.
Yeah.
Because it's a cockroach hybrid.
Yes. So what is the ecology on something like this?
Well, subterranean horrors reside and hunt in any underground passage long enough to contain them and which contains an ample enough food source. Therefore...
Gotta eat.
Yeah, you gotta eat. Therefore, they can be found in dungeons, collapsed buildings, sub-basements, subway systems, and underground networks. Anything underground, really. And
Sure.
I'm thinking more specifically for like D&D, the Underdark.
Yeah.
This would be
Sure.
perfect for Underdark. Additionally, as they are in the wild communal, nests of these monsters will often learn from each other, which makes them exceedingly difficult to control at times. So think like a flock of ravens, how they'll learn about stuff over
Right.
time. Same thing with the Subterranean Horror.
So they're mounts, but they're not necessarily great mounts.
They're pretty good mounts, but you've got to kind of raise them individually or they'll...
Well, the thing is, if you befriend the colony...
You've got yourself a legion of mounts.
Indeed.
Which is pretty much how the story goes in this.
Gotcha. So what is the story?
Spawning directly from the dreams of a dying god on the astral plane, the first subterranean horrors survived by burrowing into the dying deity's ear and surviving off the tasty victuals found within.
That checks out.
Yeah. They somehow then escaped into the Underdark, where they were found by several enterprising bands of drow, who now use them exclusively as their mounts of choice. And I think that's fitting for a band of drow, like drow mercenaries and stuff.
Sure.
Because think about it. They can fly, they can burrow, they got ambush tactics, which is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
They're roaches, so they're silent and skittery, so they can climb on like ceilings and stuff. And damn near indestructible.
Yeah. Because they beat out a standard spider in that these can fly also.
Yes. And so you've got large passages where they're just kind of scurrying along the walls, along the top. They're horrid by nature, which would amuse the drow.
Sure.
Strike fear into the hearts of your enemies and such.
What is it? Is it aliens where they're coming and they go up the wall, then come running across the ceiling?
Yeah. They've got the little lights and stuff on their heads. So if you were a light-seeing creature, unlike the drow, you might be able to, say you're a dwarf, right?
Sure.
You need to see something even though you got dark vision. You have them turn on their lights and you could mine in the dark.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's 2 headlights, man.
Well, it's really good for mining in that dark vision may show you that there is a difference in color here, but is that a stream of copper? Is it a stream of tin? Is it a stream of silver? Like you need to know what that metal is and if it's worth your time.
Absolutely. So that's your Subterranean Horror. Let's mix it up a little bit. And now it's time.
The question of the week.
All right. Hit me. What do we have for the question of this week?
This one's a little more personal. Design a perfect mount from 3 creatures that you have actually touched.
3 creatures we've actually touched.
Yes.
Okay. I have one. Do you have yours?
Yes.
All right. Here's what I've got.
Okay.
Mine is all bastardly.
Okay.
I have a flea,
Mm-hmm.
a seagull,
Mm-hmm.
and a goat.
Yeah. It's just...
So it's a leaping, not necessarily flying. I'm going to say it's a gliding, head-butting asshole of an animal. So you imagine goat forehead, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but it opens his mouth. It's got the little piercing proboscis that a flea has.
Yeah.
It's got the seagull wings and maybe even the talons on the front.
Sure.
And then seagulls don't have talons, do they?
I mean, they've got claws.
Yeah, so they have the clawed web feet,
Yeah.
whatever seagulls have. And then the flea backside. So it like launches itself into the air, just kind of glides, I don't know, a couple 100 feet or something like that.
And then just...
Headbutts you in the face.
Yeah.
And then as you're collapsed to the ground, it pierces you and drinks your blood. What a great mount.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just a bastard. Just...
Because seagulls are terrible creatures.
Seagulls,
Goats aren't really-
goats
yeah.
are rude.
And who likes a flea? Except for unless you're, talking about the...
The basis for the Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody likes that.
It's the only flea anybody
Only
likes.
flea I like. Now, what is your 3 animals that you've touched?
So this is going to be a strange looking critter.
All right, I'm ready.
A rattlesnake,
You've touched a rattlesnake. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
an owl,
Okay,
and a camel.
and a camel.
Yes.
Camel body,
Yes.
or is it a snake with humps?
So hear me out. What you got is the primary body of a camel. I do want except like with the fluffy owl feathers, so it can be very quiet when it's
Mhm.
moving.
Mm-hmm.
Giant owl wings, so it can fly.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to have the front claws are actually going to have camel pads, but with the big, sharp owl talons.
Oh, I like that.
And the neck is actually going to be the rattlesnake base. So it keeps its neck coiled back and it can strike forward. And it's going to have the big fangs, but it's also going to have camel teeth. Because I don't know if you've ever seen camel teeth.
They're like hockey pucks,
But
right?
they're
They're not like horse teeth. What are they like?
No, they are like meat eating teeth, even though it's not a meat eater.
Demon beast, dude.
Well, camels are monstrous. They're their own monstrous
Does
creature.
it spit and bite?
Yes.
Does it spit venom and bite?
No. It doesn't spit venom.
I
I
would-
guess it could since it's a
Yeah,
camel.
think
Nice.
about that.
Yeah.
Watch out, they spit and it paralyzes you and it bites you,
Sure.
and then it uses its demonic teeth to chew on the corpse.
Yeah. I mean, camels kill people fairly regularly.
Sure.
So
I guess if I was a camel, I would too.
fair.
What is your answer to the question of the week? Let us know in the comments below or hit us up on Twitter at Goblin's Corner.
Yeah. This is one I'm really curious
I
about.
want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. We want to know.
Yeah.
So hit us up. Let us know.
And we have some people who listen that have, worked on farms and stuff like they've touched a lot of critters. So
Yeah.
that could be really
This
interesting.
would be a fun one. All right. We've got 4 more Monstrous Mounts, Chimeras, part 3, I might
Indeed.
add. This is our 3rd Chimera series.
Yeah.
And the next one we have, I I love this because we've done some horrible things.
We have.
We're changing gears, shifting things a little bit, and doing something a little cuter. And you have come up with the Cutetaur.
Indeed.
I love everything about this. Tell me about the Cutetaur. First off, what is it composed of?
The base shape is centaur,
Makes sense.
but it's just the shape. The top, right, the torso with the two arms and the head, that's going to be a red panda. What the?
Yeah.
And the bottom, where there should be a horse, is instead going to be a bunny.
So we got a bunny, lower half, centaur-esque shaped,
Mm-hmm.
with red panda at the top.
Yes.
What color is the fur? Is it red? Like a
I
red
think
bunny?
So. I think it fades from like it either stays red like a red panda all the way down, or it fades from the red panda into like a blackish, because red pandas have black spots as well.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Could also see it fading from like red to gray or red to brown. That'd be nice.
Or even red to white.
Red to white would be neat too. Yeah. Right off the bat, we've got something that's cute.
Yes.
But is it deadly?
No.
Okay.
No.
This is a first for the Goblin's Corner here. Something that will not kill you,
Yes.
potentially. I mean, it probably could. No, actually it
No.
won't. Nah, it's not even
No.
going to kill you. All right. What is its special attacks then?
Well, its special defense is that it's very, very, very cute, and it can leap.
And that's it.
Yes. But it's very cute.
I believe it. Tell me about the ecology of these things.
These gentle, fuzzy balls of cuteness reside in Yondala's realm on the plane of Elysium, and can only rarely be encountered on the prime material plane.
Now I begin to see how this fits together.
As a special note, these creatures will only bond with children or good-aligned halflings, and thus the only riders are children or halflings.
So this is a medium-sized mount.
Yes.
Okay.
The story is, seeking to further bless her followers, Yondala created the Cutetaur as both a companion and a mode of travel. Mostly, though, they serve as living fuzzy couches to the residents of her realm.
And that makes perfect sense. See a bunch of halflings and small children just kind of lounging about playing Xbox with the Cutetaur as the sofa.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
it just sits there and like plays with their hair or goes bouncing off, looking adorable.
Yeah, they cast the spell Chill Room.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I love that.
So you have an interesting one coming up. Tell me, what is the fuzzy Coatl?
What's interesting because it is also on one of our social media posts. So if you saw that, you will see something my kid made, and I've turned it into a beastie.
Okay.
And it is composed of, as you might guess, a Coatl, first off, fuzzy Coatl,
Necessary.
a duck,
Okay.
and a cat.
A fluffy cat.
Fluffy cat.
Right.
Floofy, long-haired cat.
Floofy.
Yeah,
Okay.
floofy, long-haired cat. This bright, blue-furred, snake-like serpent sports vibrantly colored pink wings and large googly eyes. And I would say,
Actual googly eye?
yeah, actual googly eyes. And I would say one of them is bigger than the other.
I feel like that's a necessity.
Yeah, especially when we get to the story and stuff, you'll know why.
All right. So what are the stats on this thing?
But first off, obviously, it can fly. Specifically, it has flight hover, so it can hover in place. 120 feet around, and if you want to know how fast it is, it can dream travel,
Okay.
as per the spell. It also plane shifts twice per day.
Very nice. So does it have any attacks or anything?
It's got a couple. So first off, it has a breath weapon of sleep, puts you to sleep, 60-foot cone. If that doesn't work, it has an aura of cuteness, DC 15 charisma save to target creature with any hostile action.
Okay.
And if pressed, that 60-foot cone of sleep turns into a breath weapon of nightmarish visions dealing psychic damage. And DM, feel free to throw how much damage that actually is.
As needed.
Yeah, as needed.
That's how much damage it does.
Mm-hmm. And the ecology and storyline go as follows. This creature hails from the Feywild, where it meets the border of the Plane of Dreams.
Okay.
Because you don't see a lot of dream creatures in 5th edition. And I'm adding on to my game world, and we're going to have the Plane of Dreams kind of feature prominently in this game.
Excellent.
Yeah. Created by a childlike goddess named Cleomondrin, the fuzzy Coatls were born to transport the representatives of the Plane of Dreams to the Feywild and vice versa.
Nice. So it's like ambassador mounts.
Yes. Yeah, so the representatives of the Plane of Dreams hop on a fuzzy Coatl, plane shifts to the Feywild, maybe one of the Archfey or Fey representatives hops on the fuzzy Coatl. It's just goofy enough to be Fey-like.
Sure.
Goes into the plane of dreams.
And there you go.
And
Back
there you
and
go.
forth, no
Yeah.
problem.
And if you really need to get into it, got some psychic damage or the aura of cuteness.
Yeah.
So those are the fuzzy Coatls. Our last two creatures, we've decided we've done useful, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
We've done horrible.
Mm-hmm.
We've done cute.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're just going to go with ghastly in terms of damage output.
Yeah.
And these are great.
These are creatures of war.
Yes. Specifically, you've even got one with the name war in it. Tell me, what is the war mane?
The war mane is a combination of moose, kangaroo, and giant anteater.
That sounds awesome and horrible.
It has the frame of a moose, the powerful back legs for leaping from the kangaroo, and the front claws of an anteater that can punch through masonry. It is a large-sized creature with a long, shaggy coat and big horns and a moose face.
Okay, so it's a moose face.
Uh-huh.
Does it have a pouch like a kangaroo?
You know, yes.
Okay.
I'm going to say yes.
It's got these big old claws because you don't mess with an anteater.
No, anteaters, for those of you who don't know, in the real world, giant anteaters will murk a jaguar. That happens. They can literally punch through concrete with their little sharp
They're
claw.
not to be trifled with.
No.
And nobody messes with the moose.
Right.
I mean, like, mooses are nasty. And, you know, we've heard stories from down under. You don't mess with a kangaroo. They can box. They can kick.
Yeah.
They're
They can
dangerous.
eviscerate you with their toenails.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are nasty creatures. So all three combined make a war mane.
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about its special attacks and such.
All of its attacks are basically just built into its form, right? It has a gore attack, obviously. Trample. Charge. It can claw. And it has a leaping attack. And of course, it can just kick the crap out of you.
It's just basically straight melee. It's a melee monster.
Yeah. It is just a giant honking beastie that melees the crap out of things.
How do you ride it? You ride it on the back?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like the pouch is primarily for little baby manes, but when it's not in use for that, that's where you put like all your necessities, your food and bed kits and all that stuff.
Sure, I could see that.
Yeah.
Fun. What's the ecology of this thing?
War manes are highly territorial, but otherwise peaceful herbivores. Within the right hands, however, war manes can be trained as devastating mounts for battle, hence the moniker. The story is, this creature is the result of a planar overlap, created when several spatial areas overlapped, not just the locations, but also the creatures residing in them.
Now that's interesting. I like, because you see a lot of like planar things happening and we swapped locations, but you never hear a lot about, well, we've mashed three creatures together because the planes shifted.
Yep. And the other thing that means is whenever you want, you can throw more random monstrosities out because we all know this overlap happened.
Yeah.
The resulting creature proved hardier and more adaptable and can now be found in various climes across the world, particularly wherever large mounts are needed for battle.
Yeah, because if you need something with the viciousness of an anteater, a moose, and a kangaroo, there's your go-to.
Yeah. It's mostly just all things that want to be left alone and are more than capable of forcing things to leave them alone.
I see it like a band of orcs with these.
I can definitely see that.
They come out of the forest with a big old, like the moose, whatever the moose
Sure.
bellow is.
That low.
Yeah. It's scythe like 4 claws, like just chop a tree down and just crashes against the barricades, leaps over the rest of the barricades and stomps the shit out of something.
Oh, yeah. You got to do that trample dance, man.
Oh, yeah. It's just trample dance. You know, the orcs just, he's doing some shamanic stuff, casting lightning, chain lightning or something like that. And, you know, another one jumps up, orc kind of rolls off. You see him barrel roll off the side, spear some poor
Some
villager.
hapless soul.
Yeah, some hapless soul feeds it to the war moose. Well, they're herbivores, so it won't matter. You know what? He'd probably feed it to the war moose anyway. That's just what an orc would do. That's what I would do as an orc.
Sure.
But then again, I'd play a murder hobo for that.
Indeed.
Just for that.
Speaking of war beasties, though.
We've come to the final mount of the evening.
That's true. And that could be mount as in something you ride or mount as in a small mountain, because this thing's quite large.
It is a gargantuan creature.
Tell me about the siege snail.
Ah, the siege snail. It is a combination of 3 creatures, as you might guess. First off, flail snail,
Mm-hmm.
rust monster,
Mm-hmm.
and a carrion crawler, which I might add are 3 amalgam creatures merged into 1 amalgam creature.
Right. They are, all 3 of them are monsters, and now they're just a monstrous monster
The
mount.
monstrous of the monsters. It is our gargantuan siege snail.
Okay. So what's the description on this guy?
Specifically bred for large-scale assaults, the siege snail is an enormous purple gastropod which ponderously moves across a battlefield, removing debris and obstructions, broken tools and weaponry, and of course, disposing of corpses.
Sure. It's a snail that eats with its feet.
And I see it as the body is purple, like purple gastropod snail, and then the shell maybe like a dull steel gray,
Okay.
or maybe even like an iridescent gray of some sort.
Yeah.
It's got that like pearlescent lacquer on it.
Like a nacreous iron. Have you seen the iron snails?
No.
That's worth looking up at a later date regardless. We'll talk about that later.
Okay, yeah, we'll check that out.
But yeah, like you were saying, that steel gray, but with the mother of pearl type sheen on it.
Yeah, pretty much what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's nice. I
Except
like that.
gigantic.
Well, yeah.
While slow, this is not very fast, the beast is heavily armored and can grow to heights of over 30 feet or more, making it exceptionally useful as a mobile command center or a living siege tower.
Sure.
And you'll see why in a moment. Battle commanders oftentimes build elaborate howdahs or larger structures on the shell, complete with bristling weaponry like ballistas,
Sure.
catapults, and such. And larger specimens can even host small rooms or ballista on their heads. You have like a 2-story.
I can also see like a commander tent hanging off the back.
Mm-hmm. And maybe like a ballista on the top.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see one with like a trebuchet on either side?
Yes, that's
That
got to
would
keep it balanced. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Although it doesn't need weapons, and we'll find out why in a second.
All right. Since we're finding out why, what are the stats, special defenses, and attacks?
It gets 4 attacks around.
Okay.
And you can choose between these attacks. You could choose between 4 bludgeoning strikes from the flail snail. So it's got 4 giant, and I don't know if you've seen what flail snail is. It looks like a mace tendril. It's got 4 of those. You can choose between those 4, 2 rusting touches, because it's got 2 of the antenna from the
feathery antenna from the rust monster. Yeah.
And 4 paralyzing tentacles from the carrion crawler.
So it's got like the little mouthy, chinny type.
Yeah, so I see like at the top part of the head, you've got the flail snail part. In the middle section along the sides, you've got the antenna from the rust monster. And then along the bottom, you've got the barbs, the tentacle barbs from the carrion crawler.
Nice.
So overall, it's 10 tentacle attacks, but you get to choose between 4 around.
Right.
While not bright, the siege snail can distinguish between things which can be eaten and things which need to be smashed, and will instinctively use its attacks to the best advantage in combat. Additionally, the beast can be directed by its handler to use specific actions with an appropriate handle animals check.
Sure.
So you might be like, eat that, smash that, rust that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it will do all of that.
While you're beating up the people on the top of the ramparts, I'm going to need you to whisk that rust monster down there to get rid of that portcullis for us.
And I see the tentacles as long enough to be able to reach different areas. So you could have it literally assaulting a wall while it's eating a corpse.
Sure.
I see nothing wrong with this.
Well, it just has to roll over the corpse to eat it. It's a snail.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
They just literally leave
but
one
it could
clean
paralyze,
trail.
Could paralyze things.
So that it can walk over it later.
Yes.
What is the ecology of this thing?
Originally much, much smaller in size, natives to the Underdark, Siege snails were magical mutations and ultimate omnivores of dungeon ecologies. Due to their amazing abilities, several individuals migrated them to the surface, and they quickly flourished into the titanic war beasts they appear today.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a place with limited food, you stay smaller. If you come to a place where there's far more food and you don't have a natural predator, going to get a lot bigger.
Yeah, and I see like some adventurers basically found them, bred them,
Sure.
and then they pop up on the surface, they get huge, the rest is history. No one is entirely sure where the first siege snail came about. Possessing the distinct abilities of 3 different dungeon creatures, it is theorized that the toxic magical energies which pervade many dungeons could have caused this mutation to arise.
Makes sense.
Others suggest that given the overall shape of the beast is similar to a flail snail, it's possible an offshoot ingested the other 2 beasts and somehow was able to incorporate the abilities of its victims to better flourish. Should this be the case, other subspecies of siege snail may also exist within the lightless realms. Beholder flail snail, perhaps?
Beholder, elithid, flail snail.
Yeah, that could happen. That would be horrible to contemplate.
Because what it needs is a bite attack.
And mind control powers.
Yes.
So there you have it. 8 monstrous mounts for you to use in your TTRPG of choice. We hope you enjoy them. I certainly did.
Me too.
Yeah. Any questions or comments? Hit us up at Goblin's Corner on Twitter. Let us know what you think. If you've got a monstrous mount that you want to add to this list, we'd be happy to write up some stats.
Yeah, we'd love it.
Yeah. Do you like our show? Subscribe to our podcast on your favorite player, YouTube and Twitch.
If you could do us a favor, click the 5 stars, give us a review on iTunes and Podchaser and YouTube. Hit the like button, subscribe. Help us get our show in front of more people. It boosts the show, and it feeds the hungry algorithm.
Which is currently waving 4 of its 10 attacks. Yeah, to better bash, disintegrate, and eat you. That algorithm's tough.
It is. That's a rough beastie.
It's a rough beastie, man. That is the ultimate mount. That's all the time we have for tonight. Once again, my name's Eric.
And I'm Matt.
We'll see you next time.
Good night, folks.
The Goblin's Corner has been written and produced by Eric Holden.
And Matt Staples.
D20 did our music.
And this is, in fact, a Subterranean production.
Your voice is so low.